Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. If Corona can't find me, it can't get me, Perna. If Corona can't find me, it can't get me, Perna. Where am I at, you son of a bitch? You son of a bitch! Fucking virus fuck! You can't find me. Yeah. This is my last resort. Cut my life into pieces. Okay, today is about NFL free agency winners. Since most of us will just be happy to be alive come December, this is my lowest risk grading episode I have ever done. Remember when Brandon said the Eagles did a good job in free agency back in March? What a moron. That was the dumbest football thing anyone other than Stephen A. Smith has ever said, is something nobody will be thinking about in 9 months. Zero accountability is why I actually started a YouTube channel, and now is my time to shine. Today, we have the free agency winners. Free agency losers will come in another episode, but today is about the winners. That's good, sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Shout out to Mario Vatanzi. He is my chiropractor, not a paid promotion. He's also my friend. He hooked me up with this sweatshirt. He works on the Denver Broncos. He does body work for the Broncos, and he helped me with my lower back a while ago. The best fix I've had when my back goes out. So, if you're in the Denver area and you need a good chiropractor, I highly recommend Mario. And not just because he's helping me blend in with the world so that no virus can find me. No virus can find me. I do have Big Dick Patreon shoutouts for T. Boone Pickens, aka Titty Boone Pookins, Paul Donathan, who goes by Benny D from Fife Lake with a massive $20 donation. Paul, also a big Lions fan, so please respect him during this tough time as we all watch Matt Patricia make only slightly less baffling decisions than Bill O'Brien. Wayward Spartan up into $5 a month, and Anthony Weatherly. Thank you guys so much for your donations. Patreon.com/ThatsGoodSports. That's where you can support this show. Yeah. Okay, the teams that are winning. I am putting the Philadelphia Eagles into the free agency winner column. They were on the edge, and then today they signed Nickell, Robey-Coleman, nickel corner to add to their secondary. I loved the Javon Hargrave signing as well and the trade for Darius Slay, but then they also signed Broncos safety Will Parks, who took less money so he could return to his hometown of West Philadelphia, where he was born and raised. He adds a true playground mentality to the defense, something they've missed since Chris Long. He does not, however, chillax, nax, or relax in coverage. He's a very physical box safety and a great addition with Coleman in the slot now for Philly. The Eagles still need wide receiver and offensive line help, but Will Parks instantly becomes the most versatile player in that secondary. He played all over the field for the Broncos, and knowing he took a cheap one-year deal, I have no idea how Denver didn't pay him to come back. Will Parks will be paid $1.6 million after all of Denver media projected him to make a boatload of money in free agency. I certainly thought he would, so congrats to Howie Roseman for getting away with fucking robbery. The next team on my winners list isn't a true winner. I'll say a mixed bag, with potential to be good due to their draft position. It's the Bengals. The Bengals have done a nice job in free agency so far. Yes, the Bengals, who just now learned what free agency is. They landed the defensive line beast that I wanted, the Broncos to sign and nose tackle DJ Reader. Oh, that's a huge get for the Bengals. Reader got $53 million on a 4-year deal. Reader, the fully literate nose tackle, should command double teams in the middle, opening the edges up for Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, and Sam Hubbard. But then Cincinnati went and double dipped in the Vikings secondary, signing both Minnesota corners and Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander. The Bengals looked at the Vikings defense and said, you know what, give us your two most pedestrian players. Now, Trey Waynes, he's been up and down, specifically last season, as he allowed an average quarterback rating of 105 and gave up 5 passing touchdowns. Both corners can tackle well, and Alexander gave up just 2 tutties last season. My concern is Minnesota had a very good defense, a strong pass rush, good linebackers, and maybe the best safety tandem in the league, which seems like a golden opportunity for at least one corner to shine on that defense, and none really did. Or you could look at it like everyone else on that defense was so good, of course the corners would look average. Anyway, this is the biggest free agency spend for the Bengals since 2010. The reason I'm talking about them is because they will presumptively draft Joe Burrow, and then they get AJ Green back on offense to triple up with Tyler Boyd and John Ross, plus last year's 11th overall pick on the offensive line with tackle Jonah Williams, who should finally get on the field. The Bengals won't go worst to first. They still have pieces to add, more offensive line help. And then today they added safety Von Bell. Really solid move for the Bengals, great around the line of scrimmage. Plus, any defensive player named Vaughn is usually good, trust me. Then, I think the Browns are big free agency winners. Yes, after last year, I realize how risky this is to say. Is there a difference, though, between big winner and big spender? Not in my eyes. Going crazy in free agency 2 years in a row has to work. The players they signed or retained include defensive tackle Andrew Billings, offensive tackle Jack Conklin, linebacker BJ Goodson, safety Andrew Sendejo, safety Carl Joseph, backup quarterback Case Keenum, tight end Austin Hooper, running back Kareem Hunt, cornerback Kevin Johnson, and most importantly, the testicle-touting, face mask smashing fullback Andy 22 Janos Janovich. Here's what I'll tell you Browns fans about Jano. He is a fucking treasure and a great fullback. The Broncos running game after he got injured last year was not the same. And having him open up holes for Nick Chubb should scare Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. Now, Cleveland removed their biggest problem in head coach Freddie Kitchens and started to improve their second biggest problem, the offensive line, with Jack Conklin. Here's what I like about what the Browns did. They spent a lot of money, but still have $48 million in cap space. That's more than any other team in the league right now. That gives them the flexibility to sign another player or two, and there are a lot of good players left in free agency, and roll over more money into next season for the team to be cap flexible in 2021. And if they are savvy, they will sign another Bronco and defensive lineman Shelby Harris. He is a very underrated player in my opinion. You'd be smart to get him, Cleveland. Now, if Baker Mayfield can't figure out how to use Austin Hooper with Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, and David Njoku, with new tackle Jack Conklin to protect him and Andy Janovich to open gaping holes for Nick to chub into, well then we just might see Case Keenum win the Browns their first playoff game since 1994. My biggest concern is the Browns team trainer though. Someone needs to show Baker Mayfield how to do a proper push-up. Unless that floor is Jamal Murray, Baker is doing it wrong. And yes, I accepted the Baker Mayfield push-up challenge on Twitter. Boom, where you at, Baker? And if you'd like more workout tips from me, please just let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll turn this into a paid fitness channel. Come get some fucking muscle. That'll be my slogan. Another team I like, the New Orleans Saints, who did a very nice job in free agency. Drew Brees is coming back on a 2-year, $50 million deal. So suck it, Tom Brady. I feel like Brees, Rivers, and Brady all got together and said, $25 million a year. Okay, guys, that's the discount we're gonna give to the teams that sign us. Let's all agree on $25 million. And then Tom Brady snuck another $9 million in incentives into his contract so he could be superior yet again. Either way, $25 million for those 3 QBs, very team-friendly deals. Now, Taysom Hill was tendered by the Saints and should be back. I like that, just for the fact that Sean Payton uses him very very creatively, and they will need that to beat the Bucs twice a season now. They retain tackle Andres Pete and defensive tackle David Onyemata, who's very important because I know how to say his name, almost. Safety DJ Swearinger, I hardly knew her, aka Peyton Manning's child, to a one-year deal, but also made two very smart additions in my opinion. First, they brought Malcolm Jenkins back on a 4-year, $32 million deal to give them a very respectable secondary, which they will need. Jenkins will play free safety, not to be confused with Janoris Jenkins at corner. And then you have Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus Williams. New Orleans only has 5 draft picks though, just 2 in the first 3 rounds, so they need to hit on those to really complete an already very good team. Then they signed my man, Emmanuel Sanders, to give their offense the extra power it needs to make sure Tom Brady loses to them twice a season. Emmanuel Sanders and Michael Thomas finally puts the Saints in the same category as the Falcons and Buccaneers, with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as having an elite wide receiver duo. Fun fact, if the Saints go to the Super Bowl, Emmanuel Sanders will be the first player to go to the Super Bowl with 4 different franchises. And finally, the Saints signed an NDA with the Catholic Church. So, pretty savvy move by them yet again. And next, fuck me, it's the Buccaneers. I don't like that they didn't give Shaq Barrett a fat long-term contract yet, but I love that they will bring him back. The dude deserves every penny of his $15.28 million he'll get this year. Tampa also brought back JPP on a friendly 2-year deal, officially titled a 5-finger discount in his contract header. Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and then Ndamukong Suh also just re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really trying to make me hate guys I normally enjoy watching as they help Tom Brady. Good moves though, Bucks, good moves. They added some line help with Joe Haeg from Indy and are bringing back Kevin Minter, but landing Tom Brady is huge, and Bruce Arians deserves to win. I've already talked a lot about the Brady move, so all I'll say is that Tom Brady has thrown 29 interceptions in the last 4 seasons. That is still 1 fewer than Jameis Winston did in 2019. I really think Brady is on the decline, but the Bucs offense is strong enough to give him a steroid-like boost to briefly curtail his downward trend. And as much as I hate the bastard, I am impressed by how healthy he remains. Plus, I'd like to point out he had nearly identical numbers that would suggest a decline between 2012 and 2014. 2 seasons with 8 and 11 picks and a QB rating dropping by about 10 points, a little over 4,000 passing yards and similar passing touchdown numbers. We've seen it before with Brady. The difference is he will be 43 when the season starts. At his last statistical slight decline, he was 35 and 36 years old, the same age as Aaron Rodgers is now. Really quickly, while I've already done it ad nauseum, I'd like to acknowledge the Broncos were winners in free agency. 7th rounder for Jarrell Casey, 5th for AJ Boye, Graham Glasgow, tight end Nick Van Ette, and Melvin Gordon, who despite running backs being treated like second-class citizens is still really good at what he does. They also finally upgraded the punting position after signing Lions punter Sam Martin to replace Colby Wadmania Wadman. Also, shout out to the LA Chargers, who are also winners. They signed Brian Bulaga, Linval Joseph, Chris Harris, retained Austin Eckler and Hunter Henry, and added Trey Turner, and got rid of the Rivers family, which significantly decreased their carbon footprint, allowing them to trade pollution credits for cap space, which is significant when you remember Phillip Rivers was driving from San Diego to LA every fucking day. Now all they have to do is figure out their quarterback, which is usually the easiest position to determine in all sports. I also like what the Cardinals, Colts, and Ravens have done. The Ravens' defensive line should be better with Michael Brockers and Calais Campbell. They still have Matthew Body by Taco Bell Judon franchise tagged. He's been mentioned as a tradable player. But I hope he stays with Baltimore. Judon had 33 quarterback hits in 2019, which was 4th most in the NFL. The Ravens only have $6 million left in cap space. Wait, no, that's $11 million now. can't even keep up. $11 million in cap space now. But they don't need to add any more pieces through free agency. They draft well, and they have 2 picks in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. They signed cornerback Jimmy Smith to a 1-year deal to come back and play. So in my opinion, they have exactly enough talent to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs next season. Obviously, this is all a big fat freaking guess. The draft, injuries, and all sorts of shit will prove me wrong. I mean, the Giants and Jets have added a bunch of players, which could have huge impacts for either team, but I don't trust those organizations right now. The entire AFC East is adding players, except for the Patriots, and the Bills are no exception. I love the addition of Stephon Diggs for Buffalo, and I think Quentin Jefferson was a solid add, but everything in Buffalo hinges on Josh Allen making another stride forward as a quarterback. So, don't think I'm not paying attention to you, Buffalo. Bills fans, I am on your side. I am watching everything you do. I'll be excited to see what you do in the draft. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Yeah. Make sure you follow at Guillermo Yaves on Twitter, my writing partner. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon Perna if you give a shit about that.